Hello everyone, Santir here, and welcome to this month's life and channel update. I'm trying to remember back. It has been kind of a long month, actually, for me in many regards, as I think about it. Snorlax is cute, though. Anyway, I've worked some more on my game. I've gotten through some critical stuff. I don't remember exactly where I was last time. Thinking back. Yeah, okay, so I'm pretty sure I got through some of the really critical UI stuff that I needed to make, some really critical user interface that lets me actually work the build system, like actually use it. Because I'm using a build system modeled after Guild Wars 1, where you have, there's 16 elements, each one has a class associated with it, and you can take a class as either your there's 16 heroes, one for each class, and then you can have a subclass. I'll make a video on this at some point in time, but it's a little bit down the road when I have more stuff to show with it. But there's so you can have a subclass. Each class has 3 attribute lines associated with it, like Guild Wars 1 style attribute lines, and then you can get 2 of them from your subclass for a total of 5. Up to you're either going to have 3 or 5 if you choose to have a subclass that does not match your main class. So that allows you to be able to invest attribute points into those attribute lines to power up your skills associated with those classes and those attribute lines. So I needed to make the user interface for adjusting attributes, because that's kind of important to making the whole thing work. So I got that interface put together. I've been slowly picking away at making skills, but I've felt like I've been in a little bit of a creative slump after that. Like I said, I'm really happy to have gotten that attribute system in place, though. It's just a lot to try to figure out different skills and how all of the different different attribute lines should be different, and what should be the conventions going on, and what should there be any sort of trend among elements, and realizing I need to kind of maybe adjust some formulas a little bit. Healing is maybe something I need to slightly adjust some formulas for. So I have like an element system, kind of like Pokemon, where there's like you can be super effective or weak to things or whatever. Those are kind of the same thing, but anyway. And also like same type action bonus. So your healing moves are typed, so you basically get like stab bonus, same type action bonus, I guess, on those healing moves. And then the way that it's set up is healing moves that you resist, you get of a type that you would resist. Instead, it's a multiplier, so you get increased instead of decreased. So it's like, you resist this healing type, and I have the same type bonus for it. I guess it's a 3 times multiplier on the amount you're getting healed. And then I'm looking at that and I'm like, that feels like a bit much. So this is more recent thoughts. I've also I've been trying to like pick away at skills and figuring out how things are going to kind of work that way, and what should conventions among types be, because I need skills to build enemies. And just trying to figure out how to calibrate all of that sort of stuff. The other thing is just like world building, just needing to do a bunch of world building and kind of having that come together. It's the sort of thing where I find a few thoughts on creativity. One is it tends to be nothing and then all at once, in my experience, or stuff just kind of fits into place. But what this tends to mean is that you stare at a problem for a while and you just have no idea, and then you go off to somewhere else, and then ideas suddenly start clicking and coming together. This is kind of what my experience of creativity is like, where it takes a while to have stuff kind of percolate in the subconscious and in the back of the mind to kind of work through problems and come to solutions. So it's a very weird, often frustrating process where I need to kind of go through these phases of recognizing that there is a problem, because it's like I'll be sitting there and I'm going to creative block, right, where it's like I got nothing. So I first have to identify, why do I got nothing? What is the problem? Like, I recognize that there is a problem because I'm not able to be creative. And I'm just kind of thinking through this out. This is really useful for me, everyone, because I am thinking through this right now, sitting down and talking to someone, even somebody who is at present asynchronously absorbing my words. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is helpful. So, like, that creative block is like, okay, there's a problem that I need to solve, and I need to identify what the problem I'm trying to solve is. So I have to go through this whole process of like, okay, what is actually causing a hang up here? Why am I not able to move forward in this? And then once I've kind of done that phase, I can move on to like, okay, what are the parameters of this problem? And then I need to sit with those until my brain is like, okay, here's some solutions. Here's some ways to work with this and kind of approach it. So it's kind of this weird, non-intuitive process that like takes time in an uncomfortable way. And it's been becoming very clear to me lately just how much I'm really bad at like midterm length things. Like I'm very much so a forest person. And so if I'm like having to construct an entire forest, it just feels like a lot and I get overwhelmed. And if I'm just planting trees, it doesn't feel like I'm accomplishing anything because I can't perceive the forest that I'm beginning to build. So I have this really difficult time with sort of mid-length stuff. It's something that's also just really become abundantly clear to me this month. But anyway, I've been working on some world building stuff that I need to get in place so that way I can like make some villages and stuff, and I need to kind of figure out some. It's one of those things where I can't. I'm a pantser in terms of like the writer sort of thing, not a plotter exactly, but I need enough stuff to like hang things on. So I kind of get into these spots where I want to just be able to make stuff, but world building and like cohesion and stuff, all that sort of thing is too important to me to pants, as it were, to fly by the seat of my pants, as it were. So I end up either running into these problems where I'm pantsing it, and then I hit a point where I'm like, I need to have some sort of cohesion and figure out how everything fits together, at which point I bog down in doing that, or I have to like figure out how to like layer it. And anyway, I'm rambling off on creative challenges. Everybody has their own sort of creative challenges. Another thing about creativity that I've been thinking about that I want to mention is I feel like original stuff just means that the sources are well hidden or you aren't familiar with them. And like everybody's inspired and influenced by stuff, and it's just if those things aren't visible to you because either the creator has repackaged stuff in a way where you can't identify what those sources are, or because you're not familiar with them, then it feels much more original than it perhaps actually is. It's just very interesting thinking about creativity. So other things that have been going on, I watched Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings of Power, and I enjoyed it. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I don't want to spoilers or whatever, but I overall enjoyed it. It definitely has like its flaws and its issues. Had some good conversations with my sister about some of that stuff, and what it has done is made me want to go back and replay the Middle-earth Shadow of game, so Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War. So if you've been paying attention to the channel, you have seen that I've been streaming Shadow of Mordor, and so when I get through that, I'm going to play through Shadow of War as well, is my plan. It's a nice, like, let my brain sort of worry about that while my creative muscles rest a little bit, sort of time. So I've been enjoying that. No sort of consistency or schedule. I'm terrible at schedules anyway. The other thing is I'm wanting to spend November focused on doing some writing stuff. I have this whole like setting and everything that I want to make stories in, characters that I want to develop and stuff, and I've just not really allocated time to it the way that I theoretically would like to. So I've been sort of ramping up, particularly more like pre-thinking through things for doing NaNoWriMo. I don't know why I want to say instead of it's right. It's National November Writing Month or something like that, or National Novel Writing Month, something like that. So I want to work on doing some writing then. So anything that I write would first go up on my blog. So there's always a link to that in these video descriptions, so you can go check that out if you want to. Any other major things going on? I feel like I had something, and then I forgot it. That's okay. Life is like that sometimes. So that's some of what's been going on with me. My sleep schedule is an absolute mess right now. I tried to reset it last week and went too fast, and it just did not stick. So hopefully I can do it a little bit better and stretch it out a bit more so it's not quite as rough. Yeah. All right. Hope everyone's taking care out there, doing well. Happy Halloween. May you have a good last bit of this year. And I've been writing a lot of short article-y things on Twitter. So there's a link to my Twitter down below as well if you want to check that out or follow me there or whatever. It's a mix of all sorts of things. But until next time, everyone, take care and goodbye.